I have no idea what I'm reading in this video, and Covers with Cassidy has complete control. I'm very excited to be doing another collab with one of my favorite people on booktube. She has asked me to be part of this new series that she's doing where you play each other's TBR games and pick books for the other person to read. So Cassidy has played my TBR game, Escape the TBR, that I play every month. I don't know what the game gave her or what she picked for it, so we will find out as we go. And then I played her TBR game, Snakes and TBR Stacks, and picked all the books for her to read. So Cassidy will have a video linked in the description as well. I'm really excited to be doing this collab, but I'm also completely terrified. Truly, I have no idea what Cassidy is going to pick. She has told me that I cannot trust her, so now I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm so scared. Cassidy has sent me her playing my TBR game. And what is she gonna pick? She's given some hints about maybe the directions that she was gonna go in. I actually don't know if I'm prepared. So, let's watch.
This feels unbelievably stressful for no reason, but thank you, Lexi, for participating in TBR Swap. I'm excited to play your game and give you some books. I'm excited to have full control. However, looking at your board, I'm stressed, and I don't know why. We're gonna play by the same rules that you play by, except for I will not be removing books just because this is going to be a read-as-you-go vlog, so I can't really have you read a book and then me remove it later. Hopefully, the cards are in our favor. I'm nervous. Are you nervous? I am nervous. Let's play. Okay, here's my little doodad to go around the screen. It's just my face. I think we're gonna start at any genre. Preferably I'd like to avoid sci-fi, and I want to go this way. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I have to do a prompt. Any genre that a friend gave 5 stars. Now, logically, you would just think I'll give you a book that I gave 5 stars. But here I am. I did love this book, but according to Goodreads, I only gave it 4 stars. However, Monica gave it 5 stars. Deb gave it 5 stars. If you scroll on Goodreads, a lot of our friends gave this book 5 stars. I'm kind of nervous. I wanted to give you a more fantasy-leaning story to break up some of the romantasy I'm probably going to give you. And I know you said to me one day that you like when a character has to pretend to be something that they're not. Like the vibe of them maybe getting caught adds a layer to the story for you. And Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. This follows our main character whose brother is arrested for treason. In order to get him out, Laya, our main character, joins the rebellion and goes undercover as essentially a spy into this martial academy. And she has to uncover secrets so that the rebellion will help her get her brother out. And it goes on from there, and I think this is a fun time. It is YA. I'm a little bit scared of everything I think I'm gonna give you, but I hope that you enjoy this one.
Tell me why that was not... I don't know what I was expecting. Not that. Oh, okay. I mean, I've heard really good things about this, so I'm excited, but I truly don't know what to expect from this video. And I'm excited because I know Cassidy is trying to help me figure out my romantasy taste, my taste in not really fantasy as much because she's primarily reading romantasy, but pretty much everything I've read has been because she told me that she thinks I will like it. And since I've been trying some other things, I know she's trying to help figure out what I like even more so that she can give the best recommendations. Okay. Yeah. Hello, good morning. I have done my morning things. Also, I just wanted to share a little bit of insight into who I am as a person. Yesterday, I was like, I kind of want to like cut some bangs, some shorter ones. I've been not on a hair journey. Anyway, my glasses are also really annoying me with the light. So I have been wanting my hair to be a little more exciting. It before was just this length. It's hard to see with my black shirt, but I wanted more texture and more layers, so I did that. I cut my own hair. I just, I have very, very forgiving hair. If things aren't perfectly even, you can't really see. My hair is dark and my hair is fairly thick and not completely straight. But I was like, yeah, I want to just like cut some bangs so I have a little bit more. So I was on reading sprints on Patreon yesterday with Cassidy, and I was like, you know, I should cut my bangs. And she said, do it. So I did. Just like on sprints. So just went downstairs and cut. But I'm talking to you because I need to go to the library. I placed a hold on An Ember in the Ashes, the physical book. So I need to go pick that up. So we're going to go do that. Oh, I have 2 books for pickup. Okay, so I'm going to pick up both of those. I'm going to get Dunkin'. I have a lot I need to do today. So I don't drink coffee a lot. I only like cold brew. For some reason, I don't like espresso. So general iced coffee and stuff is just, I don't know. I don't like it, sadly. But I'm going to go get a cold brew. That's my plan. Oh, you know what? Hey, Bowser. Hey, Bowser, you want to go to the library? He's running. He's running up. You want to go? You want to go to the library with me? You do? Bowser knows what the library is. He also knows what Taco Bell is because I used to go there a lot when I had a nacho fries pass. But yeah, we're going to go to the... You're going to go to Dunkin'. It's focusing on Bowser instead of me. Okay. Well, it's his show now. I'm going to go. I've started An Ember in the Ashes. I had some stuff I had to do this morning. Obviously, I had to go to Taco Bell. They have these really good, they're steak garlic nacho fries, but I substitute it and get their slow roasted chicken. So I got that and it was absolutely delicious. And I had to take 16 books to the library for different projects that I have finally finished. So I had to return them and I am now 16% into An Ember in the Ashes. So I was listening to the audiobook whenever I was doing all of that. So I'm currently about 70 pages in. I did start this 2 days ago. I went to a gender reveal thing for my brother. It's just like a super tiny, like we ate pizza and they told us. I am liking it, but I'm also finding it really easy to put down and not wanting to feel like I should pick it back up immediately. This is the first in, oh god, is it a 5-book series? It's at least 3 books. So I have to tell myself that I need to just keep going. 16% into this is going to be very different from what I am used to. This came out in 2015. It is YA. I don't have any negative thoughts towards it, but I'm not invested either. So we are following 2 different characters, Laya and starts with an E, Elias. And they are both, I believe, set in the same timeline in this world where there's a rebellion happening. So Laya is at her house. She lives with her 2 grandparents and her brother. And the government soldiers have come and they are there for her brother because these 2 rebellion soldiers have given up his name. And it's a very brutal thing. Her grandparents are both killed and they capture her brother and she escapes and she's like, well, I have to go find the rebellion so they can help me get my brother because it's their fault that he was taken. And she very quickly finds them. It was a little bit convenient how easy it was for her to just walk into the rebellion. And then in the other perspective with Elias, he is training to be a soldier for the Order, maybe it's called. And he is one of the best soldiers here, but he secretly is trying to escape. I feel like we haven't gotten as much with that, but very quickly he finds out that there's more to his life than he expected. He is part of, I guess, a broader situation than he thought he was. I'm tentatively liking it. I did get 2 packages in the mail though, so we're gonna open them. The first one is my book of the month box, which I haven't gotten in a long time. I got Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. Wrong Place, Wrong Time by this author was one of my favorites the year that I read it, but I didn't love her last one, so this is a thriller. And then I also got Scythe and Sparrow by Brynne Weaver. I really love the first 2 in this series. It's dark rom-com, the standard like standalone, but within the same world, interconnected characters. I gave Butcher and Blackbird 5 stars and Leather and Lark 4, I believe. So I was super excited to finish this trilogy. And then I got another package that is the Twisted Retreat box. This is the full box with items, so I am going to show it to you, but this is going to be like pretty quick. What is this? Is this a hat? Are we in Wicked? What is happening? What is going on? What? Okay. That was interesting. I have a lot of questions. It's the Craft Witchy hat. I guess I could use it for pictures or something, but like I will never wear that. There is this packing stuff stuck all over these, but these are Slewfoot inspired socks, which I have not read, But like these are actually usable, and like that weird hat. Spiced drinking chocolate. There's an incense, a candle, acne patches. I wonder if they're shaped in a fun way. This little witch magnet or skull magnet. I believe this is the incense burner. I personally know nothing about incense, but it's a cute haunted house, so I guess you just put that on there and put the incense in it and it'll come out the top. And then the book, which is the most exciting part. I am thinking about switching to their book only box, but sometimes they do extra books as an item, and that's kind of why I get the items. I generally do like a decent amount of them, but then like things like that hat, I'm like, don't love that. Oh, this is pretty though. So this is the front. It is Necrology by Meg Ripley. I don't know this book. The spine and the back. This is what I saw earlier, so that's really pretty. Here is the naked hardcover and the end papers. They're the same in the front and back. And it's signed. I can't get over that hat. Okay, I need to clean up this mess and read more of my book. I have made it 200 pages exactly into An Ember in the Ashes. I am going to move on to the next book, but I don't want to DNF this. I am just really struggling. I am liking everything, but also I'm pausing the audiobook. I'm putting the book down every 10 minutes or so. And sometimes that could be a problem with me and my brain right now and my focus, but I'm reading another book and I'm not having that issue. So because I'm still liking this, I don't want to DNF it, but I think I need to read this more slowly and not try to get through it at the rate that I usually read books. So I'm going to continue reading this one. As of right now, I'm liking it enough. It did come out 10 years ago pretty much at this point. I'm not sure if this style of YA books written at this time is my favorite, because I do enjoy some YA fantasy that I've read, specifically Heartless Hunter, and I did like Powerless. And these just feel very different in vibes, which makes sense. They were written 10 years apart. Trends are different. Writing, pacing, all that stuff can be a little bit different. So I'm liking what this is doing. There are trials in here too, which I really enjoy, but we've only experienced one of them. There's just something that's slightly off for me, so it's definitely not going to be a favorite book. Probably 3 to 3.5 stars, but I do need to put it down and I think move on to something else. So not done. I will talk to you about this later, but we are going to see what the next book is.
Okay, now we roll 9, but to get through this door, I have to pull a...
It's
door
kind of fun
is
to watch someone else play my game because it doesn't exist in real life.
3, 4,
so
5, 6, 7. I don't want to leave yet, so let's just go this way. 8, 9. Okay, a fantasy that is out of your comfort zone. I've known this is the one book I knew I wanted to give to you. I'm stressed. I'm so nervous for this one. It is a dark romantasy, and it's a big boy. And you don't like big boys, but after you loved Quicksilver and you kind of talked to me about your feelings about Quicksilver, I realized I needed to give you some romantasy that had a little bit more depth, a little bit more world building and story arcing to it. I'm not sure the book I'm about to give you is going to be your next favorite, but I need to give it to you in order to learn a little bit more about your taste. Think that there's so much definition to this story that I hope you like it. But it's A Reign of Shadow and Endings by Melissa K. Rowick. This is a chunky boy. The audio is available to you. I read this book in a day. I loved it. There is some dubious consent, so I do need to warn you about that. We're following a world where the gods created the legacies and they're like gods chosen. The legacies, though, need a source to help their power, and that's why the Fae come in. The Fae are used as sources. The legacy drink their blood. Each family picks its own source, and we follow our main character as she's unexpectedly chosen as the most ruthless family's source, and she was not prepared for it at all, and I hope you enjoy this one. I'm nervous. You're gonna hear that every single prompt. I am really using this to explore your romantasy taste. I think I've been trying to give you books that I knew you would enjoy, and at this point, I'm giving you books that I'm hopeful you will enjoy. I think there's ability for you to enjoy them, but I'm hopeful that you're going to love them, and sometimes that's scary because I feel like the love books could also be hate books. Feel free to DNF everything and not offend me at all. I'm just trying to learn your taste, and I'm excited to hear what you didn't like or like about things so that I can understand it a little bit more.
Okay. I don't have anything to say. I don't have a real reaction to that. Oh, sprints just ended. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. I have not read anymore, but I did get some packages in the mail that we're gonna open. Sorry if you can hear Bowser panting. He is a noisy boy. So, this is the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I didn't realize that there was gonna be some foiling on here in the leaves, but this is what it looks like. Next, out of order, we have Mockingjay. And this is what this one looks like. The pages feel kind of weird. And then we have the Hunger Games and Catching Fire. I debated ordering these because I feel like they don't fit the vibes of the books, but you know, I'm a sucker for the Hunger Games. And they are really pretty, so I had to get them. And then I also got my pre-order of Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. It has some like shiny parts on it, which is really cool with the little droplets. And this is just the standard first edition. Lots of pretty new books. Also, Adam and I saw a companion today, and I would really recommend it. It's a thriller, sci-fi, kind of gory robot AI situation movie, and I found it very entertaining. Hello, I have made it 35% into Reign of Shadows and Endings. I'm listening on Everand. I am hesitantly really enjoying this. Hesitantly because I feel like we haven't really gotten into the main part of the book at this point. As a primarily horror and thriller reader, I don't read a lot of series. I don't read a lot of long series. Every book that I read, by 30%, I should be like really into the plot, the story, but when something is spanning over so many pages, I have to readjust my expectations. And I think I'm getting a lot better at that, and I can recognize that I need to give it a little bit of time and not make decisions too early on. Obviously, if I'm disliking something, I'm not going to keep reading it just because it's a series. But because I'm liking the characters and the side characters and some interactions that are happening, I think that the plot not being super fast paced at this moment is okay. So in this we are following Tessa and Theon. Those are our two main characters. And they live in a world where there's these legacies who are pretty much the most important creatures in this land, and then Fae, who are made to serve the legacy in different kinds of circumstances. The legacy all have powers. It's different depending on their world, their kingdom or whatever, and they all have like little rules within their stuff. But there's a ceremony that happens, and all of the legacies that are coming to a certain age or whatever, I don't remember the specifics, are choosing a source. So with their magic, they can draw power from a fae to have stronger magic, and this is part of what Fae are made to do. They also do other things for legacy and like different jobs and whatever. And Tessa is chosen by Theon at the very beginning to be his source. And there's this bond that is happening between them that pretty much makes her obsessed with him. But she's very upset because there are people that want this as their life. She's not one of those people. She wasn't prepared to be one of these people. And she was very blindsided by this choice. They had only met one time when she was eating stolen chocolate in a closet at the very beginning of the book, and he walks in and they have this fun interaction, which like I really enjoyed. And she is fighting this bond, and he is fighting with her for fighting with the bond. And there's a lot of like power dynamics happening between the two of them and other people, specifically his dad, who is like the ruler of their kingdom. Obviously this can't happen in real life. People don't have magic that bonds people together. I understand why she is acting the way that she is, and I understand to an extent why Theon is acting the way that he is. but also you can tell that he does care for her. We know that there's like something behind the scenes going on that's been mentioned between characters. I really, really am enjoying Luca, who is Theon's like best friend from growing up and kind of not his bodyguard, but he does a lot of things for Theon, especially surrounding Tessa at this point. I also really like Theon's brother, who is a character that was just introduced very recently. Their interactions are all very fun. My main complaint at this point is it's too long. I don't think that we need quite as much time with them just like butting heads about this bond, because I get it. I understand why they're both acting like this. Obviously Theon is being very controlling, but it's also what he grew up with and what he knows, and he is doing the best he can to make things better for her, and she doesn't understand certain things that are happening behind the scenes as well. But also I get it. I understand why it's happening, and with the characters it would have also felt weird if it was really fast and everybody was just like moved on and past everything very quickly. Like that just wouldn't make sense for the characters. Where I am right now, something has just been introduced that, I mean, I was kind of expecting because of comments that were made earlier, but it's this big thing, but nobody really knows what it is at the moment. I don't think I've read a lot of Fae books. Quicksilver has Fae in it. I think that might be it, but I'm enjoying learning about the like system, the class system of this world. I hate Theon's dad. He's driving me crazy. He really sucks. But other than that, I'm really liking the characters. I like having a cast of characters, and I'm interested in where the plot is going, so I'm having a really, really good time with it. That being said, I don't think I'm going to go back to An Ember in the Ashes. I just really was struggling to continue reading this. Whenever I was reading it, it was okay, but I was pausing the audiobook for every little thing that came up, and everything that was happening, like, I wasn't confused. I was grasping everything. I knew what was going on, but there was just something that I couldn't just commit to reading the book. I think if I would have finished it, it would have been maybe 3 stars. It would have been okay, but I don't want to continue, so I'm not going to. So I am officially going to DNF An Ember in the Ashes, which I am really sad about, but I think it's the right choice, and I'm excited to continue reading Reign of Shadows and Endings. I'm feeling good about the decision, even though I'm a little upset because it's so popular, but it's okay. It's okay. Don't yell at me. If you've been watching Cassidy's recent videos, you will know that she has been taken over by coloring. I actually got markers in a coloring book, I guess a couple months ago at this point, and I really enjoyed it, but then I fell off, and Cassidy being obsessed made me pick it back up again. Also, the fact that she very kindly sent me a coloring book so that her, me, and Mel could work on the same pages was so fun. Brie also ended up getting one because she was convinced to get the markers as well. So we did sprints last night and all worked on the same page. I'm not nearly as good as Cassidy. She's an artist. I am not. But this is my current progress on the page that we started. I feel like she's probably going to talk about it in her video as well, so hers might be in there. I'll show you my final update with it when I'm done, but I really need more markers. I only got 48 and it's absolutely not enough, but I'm enjoying this so far. This is my first one in this book. I also, last night, was listening to the audiobook in bed. I think it was like 1 in the morning that I stayed up to reading, and I got to part 2, which is 65% in the book. Since I'm doing this with audio, my library doesn't have the physical copy. I'm trying to not buy books that I'm not sure if I'm going to love if it's not an author I've read from before. I'm very much enjoying this. I do think that it's too long. It's one of those things where I am both like, it's too long and also still enjoying everything that's happening. At this point, it has been so character focused, but I really like the characters. I'm enjoying seeing how everybody fits into the dynamics and into the plot with this kingdom and everything that goes with that, like the hierarchy, people doing these things versus these things, everyone's roles in that. I really like how resilient our main character is. She is not willing to give up who she is for this role, even though it is causing her harm to do so. And I'm still enjoying seeing Theon and Tessa navigate all of this stuff. The fact that she is not the primary woman to Theon. I mean, she is at the moment, but because of the family rules and Kingdom stuff. He has to have a wife to have kids with her, and Tessa is just the source of his power. So she's dealing with those feelings that come with that, seeing how she interacts to different things. I'm liking the discovery of her magic. The Fae have magic. It is not to the level of the legacies, but they are tested for it early because a lot of legacies pick based on the elements that their power comes from to kind of get what they want out of the source's power. And there's some discrepancies with what is going on with Tessa, the kind of magic she has, the strength of magic she has, and it is clear that she doesn't know anything about it either. So I like watching her discover that. I'm interested to see what is going on behind the scenes because Theon has something happening that we are aware is happening, but we don't know what it is, and I really want to know what that is. But I'm happy with how this is going. A little bit too long, but I'm having a really fun time with it. And the things that are happening now, we have moved locations, and I think we're going to start to get even more with the plot itself. Cassidy was like, I can't wait to see your thoughts on the ending, and now I'm scared. But I do plan on finishing it today. Maybe I'll finish my coloring page, come back, show you that, and give you my final thoughts on the book. I finished Reign of Shadows and Endings, and I've been thinking about what I want to rate this, and I just truly cannot decide. I'm still in the process of really getting into romantasy and figuring out what I like in the genre. And then also pairing that with the fact that I am not really a series reader, I feel like it makes it really hard for me to give the first book in a series 5 stars because it's so much setup. I will say that this is one of my favorite that I have read. It's not my absolute favorite, I think, but I'm between 4 and 4.5 stars. But thinking about the books that I've rated 4 stars versus 4.5 stars, like, oh, I just don't know how to rate it. I'm leaning towards 4.5 stars because I think that everything that it set up and everything that is going on with the plot itself is interesting. But I really liked the characters. They were all very flawed. There were things going on that they probably could have handled better or things could have been communicated better. But I think that made for an interesting story, and I also really enjoyed this cast of characters. Which I was talking to Cassidy and she caught on before me, but we think that I might like books where there's more than just the main couple at the focus of the story. My favorite moments of this book were the moments where our 2 main characters were also with Luca and Axel, who is his brother, and the person that I was talking about that I didn't really know what his purpose was, but like I know now that is explained to us. They're just really fun moments between all of them individually within this group and as a group as a whole. I really liked seeing that. It just was definitely too long for me. I don't think that we needed all of the pages that we got to tell the same story, but at the same time, I do think we needed a lot of the time to see our 2 main characters butting heads because they have very different views of everything with how they were raised and their expectations and their wants and anything that goes with that. I'm very curious about what's going to happen afterwards because there are some things that were revealed at the end that I really enjoyed. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more 4.5 stars feels right. I'm being so analytical and also not at the same time because I'm really trying to figure out what I like in romantasy. This definitely had its darker elements, which I think were just things that added to the story having many different layers. I don't know. It definitely did work for me though. I have a few minor complaints, but overall I really enjoyed this one. I just wish it was a little bit shorter, but I am interested in continuing in this series. So we need to figure out the next book.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want another one in here. A fantasy or romantasy that is a previously read author. Hopefully this will be an automatic win for you, but I don't know because we're following a different couple. But I know you have been enjoying the Bridge Kingdom series, so I'm going to give you the 3rd book in the Bridge Kingdom series. This is actually, according to Goodreads, my favorite. In memory, I think book 1 and 2 I still like better, but I'm intrigued to know what you think about this continuation, and I know you've been interested in trying it. So, it's an author you've read from before. I hope you enjoy.
I actually expected Carissa Broadbent, so that is interesting. Okay, let me grab it. The Bridge Kingdom, the series. This, of course, is the longest one in the series, but I really enjoyed the first one. I read it because of Cassidy. It is not the same as this, but a collab with booktubers where we swap recommendations to see how much our reading taste matches up. So in that, Cassidy gave me the first book in the Bridge Kingdom series, and then I read the second one on my own in November, I believe. This partially takes place during the first one and the second one, but it's very separate stories. We're seeing different parts of what has happened in other parts of the country. So I think for this one, I'm going to do a halfway and end check-in because I don't want to tell you too much of the plot because I don't want to accidentally spoil anything for the first 2 books because there is some overlap. This one is chunkier than it looks. This doesn't look that big, but it's like a 20-hour audiobook and it's almost 700 pages. There are a lot of short chapters just flipping through it. I'm excited to follow a new couple, but also still be in this world. In this one, we are following the brother of the main female character from the first 2. And then also somebody from another one of the countries. A soldier raised as heir to an empire, Zara, and she hates the family that our main character, oh, I forget his name, Karis, yes. So she hates his family and is out to get them because the dad killed her mom right in front of her, and it's a romance between the 2 of them. Knowing that I've enjoyed the first 2 books in the series makes me excited to continue and a little less scared, even though we've had a very solid win on top of the DNF. I'm not quite halfway in. I'm 254 pages in, and I figured I would just give you my halfway update now. So in this, we are following Zara and we are following Karen. And I told you a little bit about their backstories whenever have I been saying Karen? And we're going back and forth between Karis and Zara. They're both very important figures in their kingdoms. Zara is the most powerful warrior in, well, maybe, I don't know if it's warrior, but she's very high up in command in her army, I guess. And then Karis is the heir to the throne. And then there's the personal issues between Zara and Karis's dad. Karis is not aware of any of this. Whenever they both meet, they know that they are from warring countries, but they don't exactly know who the other one is. She absolutely does not know that he is the mortal enemy, pretty much. They know that they're from warring countries, but they don't know any details other than like they're probably wealthier, higher up a little bit. So they strike up this relationship. They are both trying to get out of this war. They don't want to be in it. It has been going on for generations. It's known as the Endless War. And they both don't want it to be happening because all of these innocent people are dying. So they have this like little plan to stop things so that innocent people can live. And then that puts them into different situations. And then they find out who each other is. And that kind of starts this spiral that we have moved into. It is now starting to really connect with the plot of the first 2 books. So that's why I figured I would check in now because I don't really know how to talk about the rest of this book without spoiling things. I'm liking seeing the characters kind of learning from each other and seeing how speaking to the people that are supposed to be their enemies is teaching them things. I am liking both of our characters, but I don't have any obsession with them. Their relationship between the 2 is very nice until they find out who the other person is, and I'm interested in seeing how they move forward from this because, I mean, his dad killed her mom, and that's a very traumatic thing. So, I'll check in at the end. I'm excited to finish this. It is a little chunky for what I'm used to, but this is one that I have been putting off because I don't really tend to read sequels in videos. I'm enjoying being back in this world. It's been a couple days since we chatted, but I have finished The Inadequate Heir. I went on a slight reality TV binge on, I guess it would have been Sunday. And then yesterday I wasn't feeling great, very crampy, and just like had no motivation to do anything, but I did manage to read a little bit both days. I finished this today, even though today was a bad anxiety day. I had an appointment to get my passport done. Adam and I went, my library does them, so we booked appointments 3-4 weeks ago at this point, and the appointment was today. I didn't do anything that I needed to for it until today. I had to go get money orders because like I don't have checks, and I was just so panicked the whole day, like not a good time. But then as soon as it was over, I felt fine. Well, like I was still a little stressed, but like I could tell that I could calm down finally. So I did finish this when I was attempting to work on the puzzle, but Nova was sitting on it. I don't have any video because I was trying to make sure I picked up all the pieces, but she was like rolling on the table and pieces were flying off. It was like raining puzzle pieces. Okay, I am trying to procrastinate, I guess. I am going to give this one 3 stars. It was not my favorite. I think it was absolutely too long for the story that it was telling because we've already gotten this story. The stakes in this one felt very low because I knew at the end like certain outcomes of things. Maybe not the specific characters, but the overall plot, I feel like there was never any tension for me. I also don't care about these characters and their relationship. So the story takes place over an entire year, and that felt weird to me. Like it didn't feel like a year, but also their relationship didn't feel like it progressed in any way because they were separate for most of it, but they also were like so in love with each other. And I just don't know if I get it. I do think it was interesting enough. I mean, I gave it 3 stars, but I think for me, there was just like too much political stuff with our main character and his dad being awful. I liked Zara. I preferred being in her perspective as opposed to Karis, but everything was just fine. It was okay. I have liked this series less and less as it's gone on. The Bridge Kingdom is definitely my favorite. I did buy the one that comes after this though, so I will read that, but depending on how that one goes, it might be my last in the series. I think there's 5 out currently, and 6 is definitely happening, but I don't know if it's the last one. I think they might be like groups of duologies, so 6 being the last one makes sense. I'm not sure. So I'm glad that I read this. I own it. I bought it, but I don't know if this series is for me because I think the things that I really loved about the first one disappear, and I don't know if I like this story outside of the original main characters and everything that was going on with the whole setup of their story. I don't know. So I'm a little bummed about that because I owned it, but we're going to pick, no, we're not picking anything. Cassidy is going to pick our next book, and I am scared.
11. 1. Door is unlocked. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. A horror published last year. A horror published last year that you haven't read is impossible. I literally got my patrons involved and was like, someone please help me. But you're so on top of new releases that like I was gonna give you something that you probably weren't that interested in. Wait, as I'm recording this, I think Deb just came through. Shout out Deb DG_reads. Solid. I have a pick for you. I was about to pick another prompt. Truthfully, I was about to be like, I'm picking another prompt for you. But Deb just came through and she said, this is not even a me pick, it's a Deb pick. The Taste of Tiny Bones by Vincent Heselwood was a favorite for her last year, and you have it flagged for want to read. I know nothing about this book, but here you go. I hope you like it.
I want to read that book? What? Did Deb tell me to read it? Okay, maybe Deb told me to read it because in my Patreon Discord, I'll have people recommend books to me and I add it to my want to read if it sounds decent. I don't know what this book is. Deb's the only one. Oh my god. I forget what it's called. The Taste of Tiny Bones. That cover's creepy. I don't know a single thing about this book actually, so that's hilarious. but I am excited to read some horror. I'm so excited. I just looked up the synopsis, so I'm gonna read it to you. No one knows where he came from. He's what lingers in the shadows behind you when you turn off the lights and race up the stairs. The darkness beneath the bed that keeps your feet tucked tightly under the covers. The Tat-a-Rag Man. But Evie Creepy Morrison has unknowingly found a way to make him something more than he was, something much more vicious, something much more hungry. A simple blog post causes new nightmares to start, new fears that give him new life, and now something is very, very wrong. She's lost control of the monster she created, and children are starting to die. Oh, very different vibes from everything else in this video so far, which is hilarious, but yeah, I had no idea what this was. I mean, I believe Deb that I said I wanted to read it, but I have a squirrel brain. Hello, I didn't move very far. I was planning on giving you another angle, but I have a visitor. Well, he's not a visitor. I guess I'm visiting him. I don't know how to show you this. He's just down there and he has his paw on me and I can't leave. So I am on Patreon Sprints right now and they have this really cute angle of him. So it's really just Winston Sprints. But I am now 35% into 36% into the Taste of Tiny Bones. And I am enjoying this so far. I guess it was Deb that initially said she enjoyed this book because I have no recollection of it otherwise. I didn't really look into it. I was just like, yeah, I trust Deb. So I had no idea this was about the boogeyman. So at the very beginning of this, we open up following this kid who is in his room and he is scared because his dad has taken away his nightlight. And then we know that he has this horrific thing happen to him and he is killed. So then we switch to our main character, Evie, who goes by Creepy because of a lot of the things she's interested in. And she is called into the police station and they're like, we need you to look at something. And she's like, what are you talking about? So she watches this video and this kid is like ripped apart. It's very graphic. And she's obviously disturbed by it. And then they were like, well, there's this other case too. And then they were like, how do you know the victims? And she's like, I don't. And they say, well, then why was your picture at their house? So I'm not going to tell you any more of like the super details with that, but like, why is her picture at their house? You know, like that's weird. And she's like, it's Tat-a-Rag or whatever the heck I said earlier. And she has like done this research on folklore and monsters and how things like that evolve, and the rat-a-tag is a version of the boogeyman. So that's all talked about in the synopsis, but just like obviously a little bit expanded. I'm not really going to tell you any of the plot moving forward other than this is a boogeyman book. So far it is interesting. I like the weird connection that our main character seems to have to this. We learned a little bit about her backstory when she was in college and her first introduction to Tat-a-Rag, something like that. And she's very into like mythology and these stories that lead to different things. And there's this one moment where she's like, all the monsters are fake. When you're a kid, your parents tell you no monsters are real, but the only one that they do say is real is the boogeyman. So there's implication of this being like a real monster and this being like this creepy boogeyman monster horror book. The child like scary stuff is not super described, but it is obviously children being ripped apart by monsters. So there's just that to warn anybody that is not interested in that. But I'm very interested to learn the connection. Like, I don't understand why they have her pictures. Like, what does that mean? I have finished, what is it called? A Taste of Tiny Bones? For some reason, this title always leaves my mind. I enjoyed this one. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It's kind of similar in the basic premise with the horror things that are happening to the Nightmare Man and the, what's that called? Malice House, because let me read the synopsis so I don't actually spoil things. Okay, in this it says a simple blog post causes new nightmares to start. So in this, her blog post is the catalyst for this monster coming to life. That is like especially similar to Malice House, but that one's art. And I just think that I liked both of those more, so that made me enjoy this one less because it wasn't very descriptive with anything. It was just, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. And with horror, I want to be disgusted or really stressed or have some sort of strong emotion, and I never felt any strong emotion. I think it was a really interesting concept. I liked the like creepypasta aspect to it, like the blog it was on creepypasta, and the idea of things spreading online and causing chaos, and the way that that came into play to like wrap everything up. I just never got fully invested. Part of it is because it was in third person and we were following a couple different people throughout. So I did enjoy it. Not really a favorite for me, but I would still recommend it if you are interested in it. So we need to watch the next one. Cassidy just scared me. We are on sprints together on Patreon, and her comments made me really scared to figure out what this is.
10. I think we're gonna go back into romantasy. Sorry, Lexi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Of course, the door is locked. 8, 9, 10. A horror that is a favorite setting. I probably should have avoided the horror thing because I realized that all of my horror recs come from you, but I have one that I know you haven't read, and I know you're kind of terrified to read because you think it sounds kind of boring, but I really enjoyed it. It's actually a 5-star read from me. It's by Stephen King. It's dystopian, so that's my favorite setting. I know you also like dystopian things, but The Long Walk. This is a dystopian story following a world where they're all in poverty and they can win anything they've ever wanted if they're the last person in the long walk. These boys literally line up and they walk. I understand why this sounds so boring to people, but it was so deeply disgusting and like horrific for me to read that I love it. They literally cannot stop for more than like 1 second or else they are shot dead, like a bullet to the brain. So we watch these, I think it was like 50 boys walk until there's only one left standing. The like mind game that this book played on me, like the thinking about what this would do to you as a person to just walk and watch all the other people around you die and have your feet blister, but knowing you cannot stop or that will happen to you. Horrific. I hope you love this. So sorry if you don't, but I hope you do. Why
does she do this to me? Oh my gosh. Okay. If you are not aware, I have a very mixed relationship with Stephen King. Truly, I haven't read many of his horror books. The ones that I have picked up more have been his, I don't know, kind of random things. So one of his books is one of my all-time favorite books, 11/22/63. Then another one of my favorites is The Institute. Both of those are sci-fi. I have also given him 1 star and DNF'd a couple and given some like 3 stars. So I generally call myself a Stephen King hater because I'm more so on the 3-star to DNF range. But I'm also generally willing to try them. I wasn't prepared for this. This is not what I thought was happening at all. My brain doesn't know how to process this. I have to tell you that I texted Cassidy and I was like, I can't believe you picked this book. And she said that she thought she gave it 5 stars. When she had talked about it to me before previously, sounded like a 5 stars. She thought that she loved this book. And then she went and looked and she only rated it 3 stars initially. So, because she lied to me, I'm going to DNF this book. No, I'm just kidding. Well, partially. I'm DNFing it because I don't like it at all. Not because she thought she gave it 5 stars, but actually gave it 3. To be very clear, that was just a joke. I don't like the writing of this. I do not like the language that is used, to the way that specific things are talked about. And this is a book that is going to be like this the entire time. I'm willing to maybe look past things if circumstances are going to change, but they're just going to be walking and walking and walking, and I'm going to have to listen to their stupid thoughts. And I can't do it. I can't. So I made it 15% into the book and I'm done. It's not for me. It's not. I can't. I actually, like, I can't do it. So we are going to see what the next pick is.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. What if instead we go into romantasy and out? 1, 2, 3. Door's unlocked. I don't know if you can see that.
Pausing it to say that I just pretend it was only unlocked that one time as well, so it's okay.
What am I even at? 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A fantasy romantasy with a 3-word title. I'm sorry. I think that this might be cruel. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. As I said, I want to know your taste. And there's something I have been loving lately. And I need to know if you two will like it. Because it's fun. And it's engaging.
Oh my god.
So I'm asking you to read for me Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. This is a why choose fantasy romance, which means the woman does not choose between men. She just gets them all. It is a Beauty and the Beast reimagining / retelling. It follows our main character whose father is taken prisoner by these 4 wolves. And she goes and trades herself for him and then shortly learns that these princes are all cursed. They turn into a wolf at night. She wants to break that curse for them and earn her freedom. I think it's a good time. I think it's fun. I hope you like it. It is our last read of the vlog. We did escape right after this. And so I hope you end on a high, but if not, I hope you can at least giggle at this book. Again, thank you so freaking much for doing TBR swap with me. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm also very excited to see what you pick for me and quite nervous. Enjoy.
Okay, well, that was definitely not what I was expecting. But Cassidy's like, everybody's so excited for this book, and I was really scared. But it can't be worse than what I just read, right? I am on chapter 25, which is 36% into Bonded by Thorns, and I don't know how to feel about this. I was concerned with this being a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I'm not a Disney kid, like, well, I'm not a kid anyway, but like I was not a Disney kid growing up. I watched Pixar movies, but other than that, like I don't have a Disney obsession, but I am very familiar with Beauty and the Beast because I was in Beauty and the Beast the musical growing up. I did lots of musicals. My first one was High School Musical, for anyone curious. I was always just like in the ensemble, and then I switched to playing in the pit orchestra, so I really love musicals. Tangent. I am familiar with the story pretty in depth. I mean, I know a lot of people are, but I mostly don't know things about Disney. And I know Cassidy was talking to me about it, and she said she didn't really pick up on things because she's not super familiar with the story. But there's just a lot, and I'm just like constantly thinking about how it lines up with Beauty and the Beast because it's very, especially in the beginning, maybe the first 20%, 25% is very much following the exact story. The same characters. Our main character is Belle. Her dad is the same. There's a Gaston character, which he's annoying, of course. But then she gets to this hidden castle, and her father is trapped there, and she makes a deal with her father's captive that she will pay his debt and she will be the captive instead. So her father is set free, and she is now living at this castle. There are fae there. Her father was searching for her mother and searching for the fae world because he believes that that's where she was. So we are seeing the fae, and then we are also watching the 4 princes of the seasons. I don't remember the terms. I'm so tired. But we are getting interactions with all of them. We are in everybody's perspective for a little bit. So my concern is that I feel like I don't know anybody at this point, and I haven't really seen enough interactions with anybody to have an opinion. The thing with that is that, like, I don't necessarily know if I am bothered by that. This is at least gonna be 5 books. I don't know if anything past that has been confirmed or not, but I'm interested. Now that we're more so past the, like, super direct Beauty and the Beast stuff, I mean, obviously, like, the curse that is put on these princes because they are also wolves, that is directly inspired by Beauty and the Beast as well, but we are past that with the plot specifically, so I think I should start liking it more. There are definitely characters that I am more interested in at this point than others. Obviously we have our main character Rosalind, and I have no feelings on her, but there are certain male characters that I'm very intrigued by. We're just learning a little bit about the world and the curse and like this fairy fae realm, and I'm interested. So my eyes, I think, are about to close. I am going to go lay in bed and read this on my Kindle and probably listen to the audiobook as well. Once I'm in the dark, my eyes will probably be totally fine because whenever I'm tired and I go to lay down and go to bed, then I'm wide awake immediately. So that's just really fun for me, but it means more reading time. I am gonna get, hopefully, a decent amount in and check in with you in the morning and then finish it up. I'm a little scared because I know this isn't Cassidy's favorite in the series, but obviously you have to start with the first one. I am intrigued and I'm curious to read my first Why Choose. You know those times where you are planning on going to bed early because you're so exhausted, and then exactly like I said, you lay in bed, and then since the lights are off and you have no plans to do anything, you're wide awake, and then you accidentally stay up till 2 in the morning. Yeah, that was one of those nights for me, but that does mean that I was listening to Bonded by Thorns until 2 in the morning. I am 9 hours into the audiobook out of pretty much 11. Sorry if you can hear Bowser over there making noises. I feel like I'm weirdly invested in this. Not weirdly, because like people like this book and this series, but there's just something about the main character having feelings for multiple people that is very engaging, because part of the fun of romances is seeing the beginnings of it and seeing how people connect in different ways. And it is true that people can connect in different ways with different people. I mean, obviously, people are friends with different kinds of people, and it doesn't always have to be a romantic relationship. But in the case of that, like, I think it works so well. At this point, she is not, like, romantically involved with most of them, but she is having feelings towards all of them that she is like, where did that come from? What am I doing? And also feeling guilty because she is technically their captive. And there's the whole thing with like Stockholm syndrome, you know? But it doesn't feel like that because, I mean, yes, she is, this sounds so unhinged. Bowser's just gonna be here panting. She is obviously like their prisoner, but she is forming relationships with, especially the ones that are not the cause of her being trapped in here. Oh my god, Bowser, this stupid bed, that like clicking noise, the little screws need tightened, and it's not normally that bad, but Bowser is here panting, so it's just like shaking the whole thing, and it's driving me crazy. So I think that the relationship dynamics are very interesting among all of them, and I think it's really fun to watch our main character form connections with multiple people. We know that some of them are already okay with it because of things that have been discussed. I'm curious about the like curse that is on them, because that is really what the plot is right now. Our main character is working to try to figure this out, because if she can break the curse, then she is released from her curse kind of as well. So I'm kind of surprised. I have not read a Why Choose before, but I think it's very fun. The smut that has happened has also not mostly been between our main character and someone. It's been other people, which I was not expecting, but I also think that it's setting up the Why Choose stuff with not being as like weird between the characters. So I'm going to finish this up. I need to do my daily 11-minute walk on my walking pad. I need to harass Cassidy about that. Oh my god, I forgot to talk to you about the Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter deluxe tracks. Okay, here's the thing. I don't like the Please Please Please, I guess, remix with Dolly Parton. I'm sorry, but I don't like it. I'm not a fan of Dolly Parton's voice. I think she does great things for humanity, but I don't like that one. I love 15 Minutes and Busy Woman. Those are the two more upbeat ones. And then the one really reminds me of Hopelessly Devoted to You from Greece. And then the other one, the last one, I forget what it's called. Oh, Bad Reviews reminds me of Lie to Girls, but country. It's like a mix of Slim Pickens and Lie to Girls. And it also has some melodies that remind me a little bit of something from her previous stuff, but I can't put my finger on it. So I really like the deluxe tracks. I did order the vinyl. I got the white one that is only available on her website. Do I have a record player? No. But I love to collect books, so the idea of having these very cool to display physical items, I just really enjoy. And I could do CDs because they are cheaper and take up less room, but I grew up with CDs. So I feel like it's not as fun because I didn't grow up with vinyl. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. I am going to go do my daily walk, eat lunch. I finished this book, which I'm very excited about. I have finished Bonded by Thorns. My thoughts haven't really changed because I last talked to you pretty late into the book, but I didn't expect how this ended. I am curious, I guess, to read more in this series, but only because I'm interested in watching the character relationships develop and seeing how it gets to that because of the way that things ended. I think that the plot for this was not resolved, but was fine for me to end. But for some reason, I actually can really see myself being more invested in the characters. And my thing is, I think I like romantasy that has a little bit of a bigger cast to it. I like seeing the various dynamics between different people. That is really what keeps me invested in the stories. So this is one that I might like moving forward. I am going to give it a very specific 3.75. It's not quite 4 stars for me because I feel like we didn't get enough interactions between everybody, but it very much was a setup. This is at least 5 books, I think. I don't know if it's determined how many there are going to be. Maybe there's 6 based on something Cassidy told me. I can't commit to that many books, but I'm interested in continuing. So this was very, very mixed. I hope Cassidy learned something about my reading taste, which was her goal. So I have 2 DNFs, a 3-star, another 3-star, 3.75, and 4.5. I think I've learned some things about my reading taste as well. I'm pretty close to being done with Stephen King. I like a bigger cast of characters in romantasy. I like my romantasy to be romance forward with a good plot line. I don't want it to just be a romance with nothing else going on other than the fact that they say things are happening. I want to see stuff, but I want the romance to be at the center of the story, which is what I learned from this, because that was not the case for this. It was definitely the fantasy at the center and then the romance kind of on the side, and it just didn't work as well for me. If you have any favorite romantasy recs that kind of work with what I said throughout this video, I'd love to give them a go, so leave them in the comments. Seriously, thank you so much to Cassidy for inviting me to be part of this collab. I had a lot of fun with it. It was stressful, it was entertaining, it was shocking at moments, but it's very motivating to be able to watch the next video and figure out what I'm going to read. To have no control over it is maybe not always what I prefer, but also sometimes very good for me because I pick up things that I probably would not have otherwise. I have a lot of readathon content coming up on my channel, some other readathons, and then Realmathon hosted by Cassidy as well that I am co-hosting. So make sure you stick around if you don't want to miss any of that. Cassidy's video where I played her TBR game, Snakes and TBR Stacks, will be linked for you. She possibly had to read even more than me, but I had a lot of fun picking books for her. Some very interesting choices. If you've made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji to say you were here, you can leave me a dagger for romantasy. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope to see you very soon. Bye.